Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the latest edition of Across the Cavs. Great to record this after win. The Cavs are 2-0 on the last two Mondays. They have not won a non-Monday game in a couple of weeks. They're going to be looking to take down the Hornets again on Wednesday. But here tonight, very excited to introduce today's guest. You've heard from him on this pod before. We're bringing him back. He is one of your voices of the Cleveland Cavaliers. He is Rafa Hernandez-Brito, and he is on after this Across the Cavs on Network 216. Here we go. A pleasure to be here with you, Rafa, on this Tuesday night. Appreciate you taking time on the road trip and very excited to be with you talking Cavs today.
How are you, Zach? Pleasure to be here with you. Thank you for having me and just getting into my hotel room just to get on Across the Cavs in Charlotte, North Carolina, where if this was a hockey series, you would be expecting a lot more. This home and home series. But I think it's just what the doctor ordered. When we saw the schedule at the beginning of the season, we knew how the ending was going to be. We calculated all the miles and all the times we're going to fly and everything you want to add to it. But at the end of the day, on paper, is the first shot you get at looking at things. And even before the season and all the injuries the Hornets have had, these were two games plus the end of the season, which hoping that doesn't mean much. These are the games the Cavs must have. And especially when you add these conditions that we're in right now, where our cushion of 5-6 games has shrunk to half a game, and the Knicks also in action tomorrow with the Magic who are also back there, it just makes it important, and you cannot take it for granted, regardless of what happened last night at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the way we look at it, a lot of people were thinking about that 2 seed, and now it's, can you avoid falling deeper? Because every time a team gets hot and you're not hot at the same time, it gets really interesting. Because the play-in between 3 and 7, there's less than 4 games of separation with about 3 weeks left of the regular season. So if you don't play your cards right, you have a tough schedule coming up after Charlotte, which includes playing against the Lakers, playing against the Sixers on Friday. We'll talk about that in a second. But right, Rafa, you take one game at a time and you control what you can, because all things considered.
And that's the most important thing that you just said. One game at a time, but more than anything else, Zach, you have to be able to control what you can, which is the team that you have in front of you. We can. I know we all have, I don't know how much, I don't want to speak for the players or the coaches, but we as fans, we look at the standings from game 1 of the season. Forget about game 72, right? And we kind of start adding, okay, so the Magic are getting these guys to visit them, the Knicks, this and that. But at the end of the day, all the Cavs have to worry about, and all they can actually do something about, is the Hornets tomorrow at Spectrum Center. So that has to be the mindset. And also correcting what hasn't been going right lately, and doing what has been done well. Keep doing it, and at the end of the day, I'm of the philosophy that you don't have to worry about who you're chasing, but more than who's chasing you. But at the end of the day, if the Cavs win, if the Knicks and Orlando win, okay, fine, we're still in place. If not, we get better. So that has to be the mentality. You can't be worried about too many things.
No, for sure. And one thing they didn't have to worry about last night was Grant Williams at the free throw line. Remember last season when I'm gonna be right. I'm gonna make both. Do you remember that night when Grant said, "Don, I'm gonna make both"? He misses both. Game goes to. That was after the Cavs had tied the game. Some of the fans were upset with the foul call. Mm-hmm. So Grant shot 2 inside of 1 second, missed them both, sent it to overtime. And now he's back in Cleveland. He was just back in Cleveland.
After a quick stop in Dallas that apparently didn't go that well.
I will say, and then we'll move on to the Cavs. I've really enjoyed watching the Charlotte version of Grant Williams, and even last night, you got that technical for hanging on the fourth quarter. The game was kind of out of balance, but to me, that's the situation a guy trying to take the next step as a player is, right? He's already been he's been a VP on the NBA Players Association before. His voice carries weight in the NBA. He was in a great situation in Boston. He got to a finals. Tried to go to Dallas, take the next step. It didn't work out, so be it. Both teams got assets in that trade. And I think for him, with 3 years and $48 million left on his contract starting next season. I'm very excited for his Charlotte fit. He could play the 4-5. He's a mentor for a young team. And if they somehow get healthy, eventually get another top pick to go with Miller and LaMelo, and they find one or two other key pieces, I think that is a team that could be kind of where they were a few years ago in that 9-10, maybe higher when they're fully healthy.
It's funny when you look at all those things, how great we are in the situation we're in and where we're coming from, and to see how far ahead we are in the process. So it's great. It's great for everybody, but it's great that we're a little bit ahead of that process of just trying to put together pieces and trying to find what fits. I think once with the core is in place, then you just got to throw in what's needed. And Kobe Altman has done an amazing job. And I'm sure we'll be talking about the last piece he added, because it's a piece that has come in and fit right away.
Yes, and it's a piece that comes from the team the Cavs will be meeting on Friday, Rafa. The Cavs will be playing the Sixers on Friday. It's Marcus Morris. We'll get to him in a second. So Friday, first, so you can take away the details, but it'll be Noche Latina night and something very special for the Cavs that has not been done in NBA history before.
Yeah, in the month of March, because Hispanic Heritage Month is celebrated in the U.S. as a federal holiday from September 15th to October 15th. Not a holiday, but an observance. And we celebrate everybody with Latin roots and Hispanic roots. So the NBA, since September 15th to October 15th, is basically preseason and maybe one or two regular season games. They bump it up to March, what they call Noches NBA, like NBA nights, and they celebrate every fan of that speaks Spanish in the world. So the Cavs, ever since I came here, this is my 10th season with the Cavaliers, and we have really tried to make an effort not only of bringing the games and bringing the fans, the Hispanic fans to the arena, but we also are trying to make a big effort in reaching out to the community and trying to do as much as we can in terms of helping the community as much as we can. So we started celebrating our own Noche Latina in my second year here. So this is going to be the 8th annual Noche Latina. Obviously, the first season we didn't do it, and then the pandemic season got canceled before it was scheduled to be celebrated. So it's the 8th season, and with a little twist, because this year the Cavs moved 5 games to open air TV on the English side with CW3 airing the games. And Friday is going to be the third one, and also going to be the third one for the Cavs to air the games on Telemundo Cleveland. And it's the first time ever that the Cavaliers have broadcast on open air TV in Spanish. So we're really proud of what we're doing. We're really, really excited about all the growth that we have shown in trying to reach out to, the game being so global now. So we're not only just broadcasting for Cleveland, Ohio, or even the United States. It's like we got fans all over the world with players that cross borders. So it's really exciting to be part of this. And Friday night against Philadelphia, just to add a little extra to what's in play.
Yeah,
it's going to be fun to be back on Telemundo and reaching out more fans than we normally do on La Mega, Cleveland, and Power 89.1.
I think it's really great. We talk all about the game being global, and you take a step back and think, what does that mean? Right? Oh, is it playing a game in another country? Okay. Well, you think about how many top picks have been international, and Victor Wembanyama, just the most recent of many number 1 overall picks from other countries. You can go all over. You may have another one next season, but then broadcasting the game completely as you do for the Cavs every night in Spanish, then giving everyone the opportunity to watch, I think is a really great opportunity. And I think it's kind of showing that you can easily talk about that life, but then to act on and be about that life really sends a great message that the commitment is there.
And 2 points here. The first one with the Cavs is just how far ahead of the game they are in terms of their effort to reaching out to the community. Like I said, not just to sell tickets and to bring them to the arena, but also for us to make it out to the community and see what we can do. And I think the pandemic showed us that we have done a really good job, because we knew where the community leaders were, where we could go offer our help. But also, the fact that the Cavaliers are only one of 4 teams that broadcast all their games from the arena that the game is being played at in Spanish, it's something great. 4 out of 10 out of 30 teams, and the other 4 teams are the three teams in Texas and the Heat, the Miami Heat. So the Lakers, the Clippers, the Warriors, the Knicks, the Nets. The Knicks, the Nets don't even have Spanish broadcast, and they have over 5 million Hispanics just in the tri-state area. The Clippers and the Lakers do their games in Spanish at home, and then from the studios in when they're on the road. The Warriors don't do anything in Spanish, and they're in San Francisco, where there's a massive Hispanic community. So that's how far ahead Dan Gilbert and the front office have been thinking of what we want to do, and making an effort of just reaching out to the community and just getting more ears out, on more people to be fans of the wine and gold. And then on the other side, what you were talking about, and I don't want to take credit for this, and Adam Silver just made a comment the other day that there was really no possible way to maybe bring the All-Star game back to a competitive level. And maybe they're thinking of going on something that I have been offering and asking for a long time, to have an international team against the U.S. team, and make it kind of like the Olympics, kind of against the world, against the U.S., because that's how many international players, and really good international players, are right now. The MVP for the last, how many years have been, Jokic and Giannis and Embiid and Luka. And I mean, you throw in more names, and it's like a really interesting process for me. And I think it will get the guy, at least the international side, Zach, will play really hard. Even Jokic and Luka will play hard in a game like that, because there's a lot of bragging rights.
Especially together, you saw what their chemistry was in February. And I'll close my own thoughts with this. It does not work for the Rising Stars game just because you don't have enough talent in the first and second years. But you put this together for the All-Star, I think that would be incredible. And I will just say this: Victor Wembanyama is still 20 years old. Every time, at least the first couple months of the season, when he was going against superstars, I remember his game against Giannis, and Giannis would be on his team in this case. But I remember that Spurs-Bucks game that was on TNT early in the season. I want to say it was maybe December or January. And it just went right to the wire. Both of them were just locked in, going at it. It came down to the last couple possessions. And I would love to see that. But I think it's great. And I also think, to close out on the Cavs note, and then we'll talk about what's coming up and Marcus Morris, is the last couple of tags the Cavs have used. As they transitioned from Be the Fight back in the mid-2010s to All for One. Actually, sorry, I went All for One to Be the Fight to Let Them Know. So, but if you look at All for One, One for All, and then Let Them Know, that's pretty much saying what's mine is yours. We're a whole big collective, and it goes from the players to the marketing team, to the broadcasters, up to Dan Gilbert, and to the ticket people, to the ushers, that everyone is in it together to make the best experience possible. And I really think that it's incredible for the organization that they're always about that life. The tags convey the way they feel, and just through what's going to be happening, and we mentioned on Friday, with Telemundo, and with you being there for 10 years, and with the Cavs getting an international game this season, that the Cavs are a worldwide organization.
It's amazing. And I think the bottom line is, as an organization, and I'm not telling you this because I work for them, because I have been around in NFL, baseball, and NBA franchises, and we make sure that everybody that works for all our team members make sure that everybody that steps into Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse has an experience of a lifetime. And whether that is as a couple, as a family, as solo, whatever it is, we try to be, try to do whatever we need to do. There's no job too small or too big when you work for the Cavs, to make sure that our fans and our wine and gold members get exactly what they wanted, and even more when they come to Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. And I think that's a really good feeling for us, because it's a family, and for the fans, because Cleveland fans are so loyal, and they're a different breed, different football, baseball, and basketball, but they are loyal, and that is something that not many cities have. Not many teams can say that, even though they might pack the stadiums, but this is the city that will be with you through the good and the bad. And for the city of Cleveland, there have been more bad than good, and thank God we in 2016 changed the direction of that. And I'm hoping that more of that is to come for this city, because the fans deserve it.
Yeah, and one thing the Cavs did to try and add some toughness to this roster, like they did in the LeBron seasons, was within the last 2 weeks, signed a fellow by the name of first name Marcus, last name Morris, senior, to a 10-day contract. He's been around the block, got playoff experience with the Clippers, has been on a number of successful teams over his NBA career. And we saw last night, for better or worse, his decision and, the foul on Nick Richards. Richards makes both free throws, ties the game at 27. Morris goes out. Cavs won a 24-10 run to end the half. But it's a tone that they're not going to take it from anybody. Now, they've had some ups and downs recently, but I think my personal analysis, Rafa, and I'm throwing it right to you, with Marcus Morris, is you're adding a guy that's been there before. And along with George and with Max, you're bringing in another player that's been on the bigger stage and knows what the team might be missing as soon as they walk in for the first time.
I think it's a great addition from the day from the moment I heard the name. I was surprised he was let go that easy when he was traded to San Antonio. I believe it was that release Marcus Morris, whatever team it was. He was released and he was there for the taking. And I think it's a great acquisition for Kobe Altman, who keeps on hitting it out of the park when adding pieces that are coming in to add to the puzzle, right? Because it's so hard when you have a team that believes a lot in the chemistry we have and the type of players we have. It is hard to come in and find that piece that comes in and in the middle of the season when we're really like kind of sliding because of that cushion we have. Thank God we played like the best team in the world in January and February. But I think Marcus Morris is the guy that is. And I'm not saying at all that nobody in our team likes to lose. But when you add a guy that really takes it a lot more personal and hates to see the ball dunked on him or on his teammates and takes it upon himself to make sure he sends that message to his guys and knows, and even though everybody now knows what's to come with what happened to us against the Knicks last season, but that reminder from a veteran who knows what's coming and how much harder it's going to get in order to get to where we want to go, I think is important. He said it clearly. I think he mentioned that he said it to Nick Richards right at the moment of impact. Like, I wasn't trying to hurt you. I'm doing my job. Like, I hate to lose. I hate to have these guys walking down the lane just dunking the ball. And what happens? And you can't deny that it actually lit a fire. Sometimes the coaches get ejected just to see if they get the players going, and that's the role. I don't want to say it's the enforcer role, but it's the guy who is going to come in and wake everybody up and say, guys, we need to get together. It's gonna get tougher. We have to get tougher. We have to care a little more, and that's what happened last night. It's like a little light went on for everybody and said, he can't be the only one caring that much about getting dunked on or giving easy baskets or letting this team who has only 17 wins in the season play as basket per basket. So I love everything about it, and I even love more that Nick Richards wasn't hurt at all. It was just a really hard foul, and I feel bad for him because he took like 2 or 3 last night. Because even Allen put a forearm in him.
That's one tough guy, and I really worked his way into the league. It took him until his second or third season to crack that rotation. And as soon as he got in, he's a big guy, clearly put on a lot of weight. And I think that in Charlotte, the center rotation has been very interesting the last couple seasons, but I think it helps him to go. Now his back is messed up. A healthy Mark Williams was very good, so I think he learns from him. I think he learns some good things from Plumlee if you watch his low post game. And I feel like he gets Nick Richards. You mentioned we just talk about tough guy. I think Bismack Biyombo might have been around him for a little bit when he first got to Charlotte. Would also be a guy that knows a thing or two about tough. He got a $70 million contract for beating the Cavs on the glass for 6 games a number of years ago.
And just to add a little bit about Marcus Morris, just for our fans that are listening and watching, when you hear somebody signs a 10-day contract, you usually think of a G League guy, or you think of a guy who is at the end of his string. This is a guy that, yes, he only played 39 games for Philadelphia, but he started every single game. I think it was 119 starts he had for T. Lue and the Clippers.
Yeah.
So this is an NBA starters that Kobe Altman went out and got for basically nothing in terms of giving up for him. And once you give him time to get with the program, because he had a big game just coming in the night before against Indiana, I think it was when he made his
Yeah,
debut,
he
and
was
he
in it.
came in the night before and made an excellent appearance. So give him some time to blend in and to find exactly what role JB wants him to play with this team, and he's going to be a key piece from whatever the Cavs do going forward.
Very much agree with that. Very excited to see what Marcus can do. And, we hope that with Morris on board, you get some more crazy moments. Because, Rafa, we think about this season and some of the wins the Cavs have had, whether it was the Dean Wade fourth quarter against Boston, the Max Strus shot, against Dallas. And there's just been so many crazy comebacks. Or there was that Minnesota game I was lucky enough to be at as well when they had the overtime win, Rudy Gobert getting ejected. There was the tie game. Donovan Mitchell throughout the season has had some incredible performances. You had George Niang dropping 33 on the Bucks pretty much without missing a shot. You had the Sam Merrill emergence when he had that 9 3-pointer game. Craig Porter against the Sixers during the in-season tournament when the Cavs didn't have their two starting guards. Scoring over Embiid in the last minute of the game on national TV, right? What has it been like for you being on the call? And yes, you've been around, you've called the championship in every sport, you've seen the pinnacle, but watching these Cavs this season, what has it been like? I can only imagine it's been a great time.
The best part about it, if you really summarize what you just mentioned, think of all the names you just threw out there. It has not been one guy. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell, fifth in the league, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if he has changed in the last couple of days that he hasn't played, but one of the best scorers, one of the most prolific scorers in the league. He started the season winning the game in Brooklyn, even though it was Max Strus who had 7 threes to make his Cavaliers debut on opening night. But when you think about the names you just mentioned, Sam Merrill, who has come off the bench and literally shown that he belongs in the NBA. That you mentioned Craig Porter Jr., that victory in Philadelphia, that in-season tournament game was amazing. That, defying the odds and going against Joel Embiid with a floater and basically holding himself up in the midair for 3 seconds?
Yeah.
Until Embiid came down. Dean Wade, who has been the guy, him and Garland are the longest tenured Cavaliers right now on the team. So that just tells you how amazing the journey has been for Dean Wade, who congratulations to him and his wife as well for the new baby, for the new Wade baby coming in. And I think that is the most amazing part of how you hear the cliches about next man up and all those little things, but when you see it in action and you see how everybody has come in and play their roles, Caris LeVert, George Niang coming off the bench, and or starting, and playing with 2-3 starters for the whole month of January and February, basically, and discovering that old Cavaliers style basketball that took us to 51 games last year, 51 victories last year, of sharing the ball. Last night we have 40 assists. Not many people are talking about it, but it was an amazing number of assists to have, and it's not just Garland. LeVert had a handful of 10 assist games. Strus, Porter Jr. has had it, and I don't know. The best way to summarize it is that there's so much about it that it's hard to just put one name or one thing that has happened to this team. But it has been the fact that everybody has stepped up, and there's really no egos on the team, and nobody's there to say, I want to be the star. Everything has to go through me. And even Donovan Mitchell has shown that he has had a couple of 10 assist games in this season, because he knows when he can share the ball because all the attention is on him. And so when we play like that, Zach, when we are that unit, I think that's when the Cavs are basically unbeatable, because our defense travels and our offense is always fed by the defense. If we don't play good defense, we're not winning. So it has been incredible to see what we have done this year, even with the stretch that we had after the All-Star break. And obviously, we were not going to win 17 of 18 every time we step on the court. Eventually, something was going to happen, and I think it's just more injuries are basically giving us the bill. We're paying the check right now for all the minutes that everybody has played, and all the different roles and all the different rotations, and that cannot be hidden. On this is because I know fans, especially on social media, you got a lot of like virtual GMs and virtual coaches and
Oh
agents,
yeah.
and everybody's like firing and faulting this and faulting this person. And but the job that JB Bickerstaff and his staff have done with all these different rotation and all these different starting lineups and all these different role to play has been incredibly great. And you cannot talk about everything without adding also that piece, because the coaching part has been huge for the Cavs.
Yeah, no question. This season, though, it's been a roller coaster. It's been a whirlwind. We talk about all these highs and all these players, and the guy didn't even come up in that whole monologue. Isaac Okoro was also taking tremendous
You know why?
strides.
Because, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but he's been so consistent. It's not even funny.
Yeah, no, he loved the shooting at three or four more threes last night. He's shooting with confidence for the first time in his career, and it's coming at a great time with the long-term decision, coming up from the front office. I hope to see Isaac around for a lot more than just this season. And the big theme though for the Cavs this month, I don't think has been necessarily the record. And we were talking about this before we started recording. Was this travel schedule, which I think over John has said this on every broadcast. There's a 4-week period or a 3.5-week period where you don't sleep in the same city 2 nights in a row, because you don't play 2 games in the same city still for another 12 days, because you got the road trip coming up, a 5-game road trip coming up on the West Coast, and you're in LA next weekend for a Saturday, Sunday. 12:30 starts for both. Very interesting. So how is that, you think, taking a toll maybe on the team or even on everybody? Because I can only imagine that going home away for a couple of weeks is not exactly fun, but it's just part of the league.
Before I go to that, one other name that we didn't throw because he's been so consistent is Jared Allen, who's having a career year with double-doubles, with 10 rebound games, missed the first 5 games of the season and has not missed one since, and has been the heart and soul of this team. So my friend J.A. had to be mentioned in that whole thing. And that's why I told you it's not easy to put a single thing or one moment or one reason why the Cavs have survived all these injuries. But then talking about the traveling, it is insane. We looked at this calendar when we started that series against New Orleans. We don't play, like you said, in consecutive cities until April 8th and 9th, whenever that is, again, when we play LA. And not only that 5-game series, Zach, has 2 back-to-backs. We play Utah and Phoenix, and then we play Lakers, Clippers. And out of the 5 games, 3 of them are day games. And for fans that don't understand the routine and how important it is to take your game day nap, and how used these guys are to waking up in the morning, getting the shooting, and then going back, taking a nap, and having a quick lunch, and then going to the arena, do the shooting again. When you have a 12:30 game, everything gets turned upside down, because the walkthroughs are at the hotel, is on video, and I mean and then the next day we got to come back to play on in the middle of the day. So it has been crazy when you add how many times during that stretch we land at 2:30 in the morning somewhere, because after the games we travel. In Miami, we landed at 4 in the morning last week, and we went from snow back home to snow in Minneapolis to rain in Miami I'm sure everybody gets it, because the schedule giveth and the schedule taketh, like they say. And we were able to take it when the schedule was given in January and February. Even with all of the Paris trip, we didn't really have a back-to-back until we came back from the All-Star break, and we took advantage of that. We won games. We won almost every game, but it's brutal. I only burned, I would say, 3 calories during the game, and I was tired Monday night. I have no idea how these guys get up on the court, do their warm-ups, and then play the game, including how shorthanded we are, or even Evan Mobley. How many times have you seen guys who come back after missing a month or 3 weeks, whatever he missed, and play on back-to-back nights? You never see that nowadays.
Yeah.
But we couldn't afford, I guess. He played his 20, 24 minutes. And that's how big the win was last night because we needed it to avoid the longest losing streak of the season, which is amazing that we only lost up to 3 games in a row this year.
One other time, yeah, in
Yeah,
December.
and to respond like that and take care of business is great. Now they just need to continue to build on it because these are the games that on paper we're supposed to win, and unfortunately you have to play them on the court tomorrow. But it's been brutal. I don't. You can keep adding, and it doesn't sound. I don't want it to sound like excuses because everybody goes through it. You know, San Antonio does the Alamo road trip, and they went. They were on the road like 2 weeks before the All-Star break and 2 weeks after. So everybody has that, but it's hard, especially when you have 3 home road games. Because we came home to play Charlotte for a day and came. So we did basically what we do when we're on the road. We came to Cleveland, slept, played, and left. So we do it again Friday until we come back again for 3 home games to finish the season. So we can't wait for April 10th to come, and it has nothing to do with the eclipse.
That's April. Well, aren't you going to? It's on the 8th, right?
The 8th, yeah.
Wait, you're going to be in. Oh, wait,
We're
you'll
gonna
be back,
flying
right?
back. We played the Clippers, no?
On the 7th, the day before the eclipse.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Phoenix because I stay back in Phoenix when we play the Suns. The team will fly back. Will fly to LA. I stay back because I have the Final Four that weekend in Phoenix.
Oh, in Glendale,
so
yes.
I stay back to do the semifinals on Saturday and the final on Monday. So I come back on Tuesday to join the team back again for the game against Memphis. So it's my annual, but going back to school, Rodney Dangerfield moment.
Great movie. Probably one of my. Now I will ask: have you done the jump off the high dive in any of these appearances?
I have never done the triple Lindsay, whatever it's called.
Yeah, the triple Lindy. Yes.
Yeah. I will try it someday.
All right, I will make sure. That we'll make sure Ahmad is there so he can call that for you. We'd all love to see that. Ahmad calling you doing the triple Lindy off the high.
I have to try it.
Yeah, I have to. It's a great reference. I did not expect that reference to come out, but I know, and people don't realize that people in the announcing business have the deepest references because they do the most research, the most homework. And that's an incredible pull. I'm really happy we got to talk about that. It's not on my bingo card for this recording before we started.
Yeah.
But as we look ahead, Rafa, so in Charlotte, back home against the Sixers. So after Friday, it's a 5-game road trip. Denver, Utah, Phoenix, LA. Then you come back for 3 home games to finish the season. Memphis, Indiana, and Charlotte. Mm-hmm. So in your eyes, with 10 games remaining now for the Cavs, what is the most important thing that we should be keeping an eye on? And what do you think is going to be the biggest X factor in getting the finish they want? Health aside, because I guess you really can't.
And again, I'm not speaking for anybody but myself here. To me, the most important thing is to get Don and Max and Dean back. Because that is when we were the strongest, when we had that point of attack defense with Dean and Isaac. And when we have Evan and Allen, we know what they can do together. And when we have our bench together, and our bench has been huge when we were healthy. When we've been healthy, that is a big key. I always have like the Rocket Mortgage moment of success, or key to success. And to me, the bench is always important. You know, Nian and Lavert and then Sam, who's going to have to find minutes somewhere whenever we need a shot. So to me, the most important thing, I think if you count the whatever 10 games we have left, or 12 games, 72, 10 games, you know, you could start saying, okay, we need to win 6 and 4 to make sure that it doesn't matter, because we don't know what's going to happen on the other side, right? Orlando is capable and has done it. So has the Knicks to win 9 games this year in a row. So you can't worry about that. But at the end of the day, we are in the playoff, and I'm pretty sure I could assure you, unless something disastrous happens, we're not going to be in the top 6 of the East. So I think what you need to do here is try to make sure that we get to the playoff healthy, and try to get some kind of rhythm back under the legs of Max Strus and Donovan Mitchell and Dean Wade. And I think after that, we can go back to thinking of whatever matchup is going to happen in the playoff, because you can't really sit here and say, okay, I hope it's the this or the X team, it's the Magic or the Knicks, because we can play. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the games have to be played, and it doesn't matter where they get played. You gotta show up and you gotta take care of business. So to me, health, bottom line, is for the Cavs in order to do, because the goal is to improve from last season, which is win at least the first round, right? Once you win that first round, Zach, anything can happen.
Yeah.
I remember the year we played 7 games against Indiana. I think it was 17 or 18. I forget which one it was.
It was the last playoff.
And we were beat up. I'm telling you, we were coming home for that game 7 after game 6 in Indiana, and everybody was just, man, we could go home tomorrow, you know? But once we won that game, the rebirth on everybody was like, okay, you know what? Now we got to make sure we just do it all the way, right? Because that's what happens when you win that first round. Anything can happen. Now everybody's there because they actually won a series, not because they ended up in the regular season. Because we know that it's a different monster to win 4 games against the same team who's preparing just for you, and have all those 20 coaches preparing for every single player to take away all the good things you do. But once you win that series, anything can happen. Everybody believes, right? Everybody's there for a reason. So that's my hope, that we get healthy and we get rhythm on these guys, you know, coming back before we get to April 20th, whenever
April 20th. Yeah. So we got the play-in on the 16th. So hopefully, for the Cavs' sake, you know, there's nothing going on, but just relaxing. Last time the Cavs went through a play-in, no, we're not talking about that one. It was it was a Tuesday, Friday game. I remember both of those a little too well.
Yeah.
Both were busy nights with Cavs time carved out. But nonetheless, Rafa, I want to thank you for coming on, because it is always fun to hear your thoughts on basketball and your fantastic analysis that you provide on the air there and with me here today. So first, I want to thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. You know my number, so just let me know when you need me. When you have anybody cancel you just call me.
Well, if anyone's canceling, you're no cancellation slot, man. But where can we find your work? Where outside of the broadcast, where can we find your calls? And is there a spot we can listen to an array of your calls in one sitting?
Well, you know, I post some of my stuff on Twitter and @el_alcalde Rafa, and on Instagram, and also, you know, Cavs do it as well. But tune in to Telemundo on Friday. Give me a quarter. This message is approved by Senor Cavalier, Austin Carr, and John Michael. It is okay to give me a quarter of ratings on Friday on Telemundo. Practice your Spanish with me. Celebrate Noche Latina. And come join us. But whatever language you listen to us on, I think, well, all we want is the support from all the wine and gold fans, and we really want to do big things for ourselves and for our city, and hopefully this is the year that we have a little more growth from what we've been doing for the last couple of years.
I'll endorse every word of that, and I just ask you, can we get a let them know?
Let them know, baby. Vamos, Cavs.
Vamos, Cavs. Rafa Hernandez-Brito. Zach was with you as always across the Cavs Network 216. See you soon.